Listening to the Law Enforcement Pirate Radio Network. Radio Free Larry presiding.
You can run, but you can't hide.
Radio Free Larry.
All right, here we go again. Buckle up, rough roads ahead. I want to check something out here because I think, all right, here we go again. Buckle up, rough roads ahead. That's a little bit loud. We'll go with this one for now. Trying to adjust the mic. Interesting day, kind of warmed up an extra amount today. We're getting up towards 90 degrees, and it's not cooling as much at night. I might just throw everything in the storage somewhere and head north for cooler temperatures. It's a shame Santa Fe couldn't stop itself, or I could have stayed there and healed it and stayed there with that weather, but can't stay it when devils are running a place. They'll kill anybody that's real. So I had to move on out of there. Go up to Montana, cause trouble for everyone up there in the Republican Party. Supercharge that Zoe person. Kind of a quiet night. I guess it's Sunday night. But it was strange, though, that up north they actually it was actually hotter like a couple weeks ago. So I don't know if that matters. You get one of those northerly heat waves. I had a hole in my security system the other day. They may have accessed the room. I'm not sure. But I fixed it. When I traveled, I forget where I went. I guess it was like to Metcalf and then maybe over to Missouri. Yeah, it's trying to make me homeless by doing that kind of thing, and then that'll help them drug me. But it's not going to, like, overnight. It doesn't work. It takes like a week or two of drugging for it to really start working, because they don't drug somebody right away. They did that on a couple occasions, but generally that doesn't work except like a massive hit where the person goes crazy and then somebody shoots them. But if a person can get past that, then they identify it. So they try to do it slowly so the person doesn't realize the change in their psychological patterns of thought. It's affiliated with law enforcement, intelligence, globally. I mean, the one thing they want to do is always show their power. And I'm like, why are they showing this to me? It makes no sense. I guess they fantasize that once they learn how powerful they're going to crush me, or that I'm going to do what they want, regardless of what happens. Their system's not what they say it is at all. Now they got this fight, this transgender fight, And that's what they do is they shift people away from the corruption that they are into things like the transgender fight. And their spycraft operators are criminals, and they're actually causing that to occur to provide cover at a later date when they launch their next attack on the people. And then the people focus on political fights, and they don't really look at the operators that are in every political party in every segment of society. And they're actually devils. That's what they were called in biblical times. And it's the politicians, and it's police officers, and it's crooks, and it's drug dealers, and it's sex traffickers, so on and so forth. The police officers, when they move into that, it doesn't matter what it is. They just do what they're told, and they get enriched. And they know that. So what they're doing is they're trying to decrease a person's capability to fight Satan in reality, however, a criminal thought. So in essence, over time, they create people like Omar Mateen, and then he shoots up the Pulse Nice Club. And then they get enough support from Republicans, and they go, hee, because they shot up a bunch of gay people. Vice versa, vice. So again, with politics, they can always maintain support. You will have a lot of those operators that go back and forth. Although there's a core group like the FACE group that'll be the Republican, and the FACE group that'll be the Democrat. So again, they're killing children. They're getting kids raped and murdered. They don't care. They're going to get theirs at all cost. That's their mentality. And of course, you have some true believers, but once they get up above a certain level or stay a certain point, they're either going to move over into that or they're not going to be there. So again, they could have put something in that causes that additional pain, because it's been a few days since that happened, and now I have additional pain. But I still have it on a certain system, and I can most likely access it. So I have to look in on there and see what I see there, but I have to go back. There's no way they erased that system. So again, I notice a lot of uptick of your operation during that time period. So whoever's telling you to do it will be the one that broke in and drugged me to have additional pain, and then say it's from that. But it took a lot to get it there the first time. So it's going to take a lot now, so it isn't going to be able to be done. Oh, I'm supposed to shut up and then it'll get better? Same response. F you and F your family and F your organizations and F anybody that supports any of you. I mean, I don't know what response you're looking for. This is the end times, babes. Turn your cheek today, they'll shove a penis in it. It's the only cheeks they understand or are worried about. The system only works one way on this planet, and they know it. But yet God works another way, and when it hits, it hits. I mean, it's all the same thing. If you go to India and you see how rich those people are, yet they have the shittiest rail system of any, halfway civilized society. You see how that works, right? And again, bail reform, it's not bail reform. Not at all. You're bringing demons and devils to all these communities to possess people's minds. You don't control those devils or demons. Just like the Overland Park officer that raped somebody. Those are the demons and devils you brought here, and they were able to possess one of your own officers. And the reason that the younger generations do not believe in capitalism is because it doesn't exist. It's a fairy tale. It could exist. And I thought maybe Trump would do that, but he went back to the Soviet-style cronyism, the KGBism, the oligarchism. And it's really organized crime and racketeering. What happened to Gomart? He just disappeared. What, he retired? He seems to think that, what's his name? That was Louis Gohmert in Texas I was speaking about. He seems to think that Paxton's on his way out. And they have the stupidest news in the world. Yes, his Paxton's wife might be one of the jurors. No, she can't be one of the jurors. She has to recuse. One way or another. Whether she likes him or hates him. This is the stupidest content. I mean, what? Everything is if you go to the UK, it's even worse. So that's what, usually the UK is about 5 to 10 years ahead of us. It's all like a soap opera in their news. And they're actually starting that here. It's like the Jerry Springer newscast. Cool looking vehicle, this GT Mustang thing. There's a lecture. So it is what it is. No, I'm not saying it happened. It could have, though. But again, Satan can do the same thing because they work for Satan. I'm not saying it happened, but there's a possibility. Everything that happened could be accidental. And I realize that. Or happenstance. I walked by that vehicle. I'm up by the windows. I shouldn't be up here because it's the scam they played in Amarillo. So again, their curses must be up. Devils are up and anti-power. So I don't know if that's what's it called? What do I call it? Sissy hypno or something like that. That's where they feminize a man into being or maybe even a boy. So that's one of the other issues. It's where they feminize a boy or a man into being a trans person generally. But I don't know if anybody views that much, or is that how it works? And I don't know if I don't know if the process actually works. Is it just, do you have to actually, I don't know what the word I'm looking for, actually believe it or something like that for it to work? And then would that also leave them susceptible to some sort of other brainwashing? So again, that's what we might be seeing. I don't know. They have a hypno thing, and they use that, the poppers or something like that. I guess it's an inhalant. It tells them to use an inhalant. I don't know the effects of using that inhalant, along with that type of thing. I do realize I was being manipulated, or they attempted to manipulate me into that. when I was in Santa Fe. They call it poppers or something. They huff it and they do their sexual thing. So I'm not. That needs to be looked at, especially when we're speaking about somebody that's a minor child. You know, that's all the way up to 18. Because if it's that sissy hypno, and there's something else too, sissy captions, and what was the other one? I can't remember the other one. But just go into that and look at it. But say the Lord's Prayer before you look at it, so it doesn't. Oh no, the FBI turned. It's all trans. So again, you need to investigate that and to make sure that's not part of it. Because if that's part of the process, that's child abuse there. Now, I'm not as strong as them. Again, I don't want it to. I'm going to protect both sides the best I can going through this, and I helped them fashion those laws, those drag laws, so they wouldn't be able to be used by abusers. So that it would just simply be if something was sexual, and that's basically where it's supposed to be. If something's sexual, it shouldn't be put in front of a minor child, and that's just basic idea. I mean, basic logic. So what happened is the judge caught, was it Tennessee? I don't remember where it was. But the one judge caught them with an overly broad law. And that's why I said to Oklahoma, just put what your description of, darn, I forgot the word again. I had it last night. Oh, well. But, put the description of what you're actually speaking about. So the first part of this is drafting the law so that cannot be abused. Again, because then the judge will say it's vague and overly broad. And then once you have that, you have to track how it's being applied, because no matter how you draft a law to protect, the trans people from being abused, it can still be abused by individual officers and members of the government. Because again, it's not only going to be officers. I think it's going to include like inspection agencies and things like that. Licensing agencies will be looking at that kind of thing also. Well, because the judge knows what's going on. People are trying to make it abusable. So the judge knew that was what's going on. I mean, so there's a think tank in here. I don't sit there forever anymore with the government people because it's just not worth it. I mean, but I do get into some of it, and I guess they still receive maybe, because I see my stuff popping up over here and over there. I imagine the one trans woman, because when I speak about her, she's here. She's a rather intelligent person, and she's trying to explain what happened to her. And she's just, look, I know I'm not a woman and all of that. I'm with her in some sort of think tank, I imagine, or thought tank. Again, we're connected to the world, and people here. And, again, God's going to move my stuff where he needs it to be moved. So she has the appropriate thought process. I just, I'm not for the operation. I just don't think that it's necessary. I think that is the biggest part of the overkill. And the biggest part of detransitioners, the biggest aggravation to detransition. So again, it is what it is. I understand all of it. So I'm not going to say, I'm not going to say bad things about people that do any of it, because I understand how the wills of others. So we're looking also at, and God was part of that, is if we go back to when this is beginning in their lives, the individuals that are actually willing them to be that way may not even be in their life. Now, when you get to the point of the operation, then you get to a point what do they call it? Bottom surgery or whatever it is, right? And top surgery. You get to the point where it's no longer somebody that's not available. You know what I mean? Like, because they're trying to, at that point, look like a woman completely. So then why doesn't the person get with a woman? Because there are wills that are doing this. So again, what are the wills and why? Some of the wills, again, God's here, and some of the wills are just angry at the person and want them to be the most difficult thing that they could be. Again, it's a form of depletion almost, metaphysical depletion. And again, we don't know if spies are if spies are leading these. Seeing spies are trying to stop me from speaking there. We don't know if the spies are actually leading them to this. Again, to them, it's just a human experiment to see how far they can take who where. Again, spies include private investigators, foreign, domestic. Because a spy doesn't tell you they're a spy. So I have to open your brains up so you can realize that your librarian might be a spy because they were shadow recruited to effectuate certain parts of the mission. And again, the partner program does that. They want to be rich, and that's what it is. They want to be rock stars. And that's what it's about to a lot of law enforcement officers. Now, they still get to be a hero. Again, they're, like a Hollywood hero. That's what they want to be. So again, they still get to be the person that's stopping the crime, even though they're causing the crime. And again, there is also behind the scenes a psychological operation that individual officers are engaged in to cause individuals to have issues. So again, it's kind of like a free for all. It's the end times as it was described, but not the end times as it's being articulated today. So again, the end times as it was described told us that it would not be articulated. They would call evil good and good evil. And I understand you do serve a function. There is a law enforcement process, but it's causing the crime. And it isn't just psychobabble or something real deep, even on the surface, causing pain, causing disability, causing murder, causing rape of children. I mean, they're disgusting. To them, this is the heroes of our world. Again, during Trump, they tried to build it up as though the deep state was saving us all. Of course, it fell on its face. Because God sent them a strong delusion so that they would believe a lie. So I don't know. We heal this lady and her kid. So I'm just not happy with my banks. I'll be changing my banks. It was nice they gave me a bonus for opening up the accounts, and the system wants me to get a bonus, and because they screwed up my bonus the other day, but they still messed up my credit with that. And they knew what was happening. I was paying off all my debts. My credit was going to go up. So they willed a bunch of stuff, but yet they're doing all the other stuff at the same time. It's a form of depletion. It's a form of brainwashing, quite honestly, or not brainwashing, the ability to steer somebody's mind away from being able to function the way God intended people to function on this planet. No, there is no reality to something I said or something I did. There's no reality to any of you having said that. It's one of the scams. I mean, obviously, if you were real, again, we're going to erase now everything I said for the last 5 years and showed you how it was a scam. And of course, I've even spoken probably 10 years at this point. Or almost 10 years. Well, what do you expect, all of you? What do you expect? You expect what John Luna did? You expect what Assistant Director Dudley did? You expect what Bustamante did? Is that what you expect? Well, if you expect it, believe me, but not from me. Don't listen to the voices. If you hear voices, they always have contrite and crocodile tears in the head. It's all bullshit. If they had to do it over again, they would. The entire world is a rudderless ship. And if they do have a rudder, it's selfishness and self enrichment and self righteousness and all of that. All right, this guy's pulling out. It's a funny looking vehicle. Probably a hybrid or something. I think he's one of the delivery guys. I heal him. I mean, thank God I was able to get my retirement. I just feel for people that have to work into older age and all that. And again, I probably would be working if they hadn't messed up my life. Well, again, I'm the type of person, I've been this way the whole time, is I fix things. I'm not so concerned at pointing fingers because it's the devil in the details. So if we do find out they're doing that, we need to fix that. I don't think a court would allow you to outlaw that hypno stuff unless you can prove that it's fraud, some sort of fraud, where the desired result is brought about by some sort of fraud, if you're gonna, it actually doesn't go as far as getting the operation, I think. So, and maybe that's by design, because then you can't really sue them for damages, I don't think. Because if you go to the point where where it recommends surgery, they probably could be sued. So again, free speech would say they get to do that. As far as children viewing it, that would be the standard issue with any type of pornography. But yet, it's additional. Well, it could be brainwashing people. I don't know. It doesn't brainwash me. Obviously, I'm not out there having sex with people. It does have connection, though. It does have, I don't know what it's connected to, but it does have a sexual connection. So again, here's how it works. Republicans isolate you, they down you, and you don't have any power, any life. But they will stuff on you. And Democrats do it also, but the Republicans is probably the main mover of it. So what happens is, and again, I guess other people viewing the pornography, wanting somebody to be that kind of play toy, could will it also. But when you're down, you don't, and you're isolated, there's a lot less good feeling. So that type of thing is generating most likely some type of good feeling. So again, that would be part of the manipulation. So it's again metaphysical, but it could be psychological too. That's what I'm getting at. So when we look at, again, online, when we look at the transgender thing, it isn't necessarily somebody like Aaron. Even I think Aaron, I don't remember her last name, and Zoe are a little bit further than I would would put myself as far as suggesting what we allow for transgender youth. I believe in anything up to anything that's permanent. I wouldn't recommend hormones. Again, my theory is that if you give them birth gender hormones, you'd probably have at least 80% go the other direction, back to birth gender. And it might be anti-estrogens, it might be testosterone, it could be something a little bit boutique outside of testosterone. It could be Nortest, who knows? But again, I'm not here to lord over and rule, somebody. Again, if you make a law, the law has to be met. But I believe that to get here, a lot had to be done metaphysically and psychologically against those people to make them like that. I spoke about it in Santa Fe a little bit when I saw how they were speaking. I'm like, well, this is kind of weird. And again, they have a right to change the world the way they want, because it's going to be their planet. And God reminds me that if they would just be nice to people, I could care less if they were trans. So again, God has an order of preference of what happens. Again, it isn't sexual preference, but the order of sin preference. And you've all kind of reversed it. You all tortured me for 30 years until I was in extreme pain. It's nothing I did. Well, you expect me to be quiet with a program that makes somebody speak? They all know it's sad. But I could care less, because it's not. You're not going to win and didn't win with it. And again, of course, they've done it to other people. And they go, well, those are the real criminals. Well, how do we know anybody's a real criminal anymore? Seems like the real criminals are rich and hanging out with the BI and all the and the local PDs. And yes, sir, yes, ma'am, give me a few dollars. I mean, they paying people that take the money and buy drugs and alcohol, and they're screwed up in the head all day, which reminds me, we'll get back to a healing. We've got to heal my neighbor. I asked him when he was going back to Houston because he's no longer working. He said today. And he's not. He didn't leave. He's drunk. So we have to hope he sobers up tomorrow morning and he drives back to Houston. Otherwise, it's going to get ugly here. And I'm not going to say anything yet, but if he's still here in a couple days, I might ask him something. It might be that he had the room anyway for a couple more days or something. Because I think they pay month to month. But I asked him, I said, well, so when because he told me he was going to go back to Houston. I noticed he stayed, he's getting drunk. And I said, when are you going back to Houston? He said, Sunday. He said, that Friday. I said, okay. Good luck, that kind of thing. So again, they also have a projection. So again, projection exists. So while they're stalking you, they're spelling you. And like I said before, the way they kill veterans that are disabled is that you're going to get better. And they'll do that for like 3 or 4 days. Then they'll reverse it. You're not going to get better. You're not going to get better. I just fuck the thing and kill it. I mean, that's metaphysical. So one day you're going to die because you did that, all of you. It's a day earlier, 10 years earlier, 100 years earlier, I could care less. But you're going to die and you're all going to go to hell. If you don't like the language, then don't use it at me. Like I told you, your system agrees to the word fuck. So if I don't use the word fuck, then it gets nowhere. And God knows that that's what it is now because I've lived here and didn't lie to God. In other words, if it was, that's why when you read the Bible, it says piss and all that other stuff and shit. because that's the way they were speaking. So the prophets used it back at them. Oh, my preacher says. The one guy. There's a guy on there. If you Google transgender on Twitter, because both sides of the story will come up. There's a preacher. Yeah, he's not too bad, but I'm waiting for him to say, "Let's pray and heal people." He won't do that because he's part of the Republican nonsense, just making everybody angry so they'll send money. Thank you, brother. So again, we've moved into the end times. I'm not telling anybody to act out physically, but and you got to do what you got to do. If God tells you not to, just to turn your cheek, that's fine, because they may not try to stick a penis in your derriere, but they've been trying to do that to me for about 30 years now, at least. And obviously, it's a continuation from my childhood when they were doing it then, or trying to. What they're doing is they're heaping the curses on me. Again, you can't heal them and heap curses on their head, or heap coals on their head, because they don't give a shit. They're past that. So again, that would be a change from ancient times. I've tested all of it. You can't heal them and bless them and heap coals on their head. They think it's funny. They think it's powerful to have you do that. So again, just think of what's going on in India. It's going on here. You just can't see it. But they have all that money. They have some of the richest people in the world, and they got the shittiest railway system for any halfway civilized society. God's ruling. What can I say? Now, I'm not telling you everybody that died was ruled to be dead by God. But when you attack God's healers, then it's over with. And you put the stealers in there, they can't heal you. I've healed Indian people from India and India before. Again, that's going by the wayside. Can't do it. God says no. Because even if I wanted to heal something because I've been there, I can't do it. It doesn't exist. If God says no, then it's no. Because I don't have any other power outside of God. It's so funny the other day. Oh, it looks like the economy's turning around. What are you talking about? That's exactly why they're raising the interest rates. And it's more than just Elizabeth Warren saying they're price gouging everyone. So cartels are running parts of this nation. There's no doubt. That includes our police departments. Let's see what time it is. I'm probably going to take a break. I might come back out later, but it's kind of warm tonight. Yeah. It's not just warm, it's humid. Again, I knew it would be humid in the summer, and if I had my health, I probably wouldn't care. I'm going to have to return some more stuff to Amazon. I hate doing that. But when you order stuff from China and it's just substandard, you can only take so much substandard stuff. This one camera I have is just like night vision is gray blob. And I'm like, You know, I remember in 1986, I had better night vision. I said, no way. How you doing? So the Bible calls it corruption. So we call it corruption. Who are we? We're the heavenly host. We're the spirits that go with God and that are God. Now, I'm not God, but there are spirits with me that are God. Now, the Jews knew about that in ancient times. That's why they had different names for God. God is a multi-personality being. I call it multi-personalities, not a disorder, in order. When they just the order, though, it can turn into a disorder. So it's a great idea. It's like a field. What I built, it was like a field expedient kitchen cabinets. You take a appropriate sized bin, and you stack two of them. Get it about counter height, and then you go get a wood toolbox, like one of those rolling toolbox covers, and that fits it. And this one fit almost perfectly. I mean, it still has a little bit of a ridge around it, but that's fine. And then I put it on a what is it? What's that thing called? The furniture dolly. So it would make sense that they're drugging me because they all increase their operation. It's usually what they do. When you see them increase their operation, they either believe that you're drugged or you are drugged. That's how chicken shit they are. Boy, it's nasty. I remember being out in the field feeling like this. Been out there a week with this crap humidity. Earlier when it was better weather, I remember to go, oh, it's so nice. I remember being out in the field in this weather. Because it was just cool weather, it was like kind of dry, in between dry and humid, nice and cooler. And I'm like, yeah. And then now it's like getting into the summertime with the humidity. I went through sapper school in July in Missouri. Humidity, heat. How lucky I had jungle fatigues. They're like paper thin too. Because when you wear them and own them for a while, they get real thin. But he passed on. Sergeant Bucksbaum used to be Sergeant Major of the Corps of Engineers. When he was in E6, he was in sapper school with me. I was a corporal. His jungle fatigues were so thin that he got poison ivy through them. And he had to dab on like cow mine lotion all through sapper school. That's a torture. Because you're sweating all the time, You're laying in poison ivy and everything else. So I don't know what to think about that SEAL thing. I mean, the training is difficult. And again, people use human growth and tests. The mother said that. She goes, I don't think that's what caused my son to have the issue. And again, being a non-commissioned officer, especially a medic and things like that, you're supposed to care for people. So again, she is right about. What's this happen? I don't know if they flipped the trigger or the battery went blank, but you're supposed to care for people. And they didn't care for him. And that's a problem. And I brought that up before. And you can't put that care into people. It has to exist. And I guess you could train it somewhat. But if the person doesn't have it, then they don't have it. I think somebody might be triggering this. Like, do witchcraft. So the bottom line is that, I've been speaking about this for years, the trash that they have in the military. That's part of being there. That's part of being a SEAL. That's part of being part of that system. That's part of being a non-commissioned officer, that you take care of people so that doesn't happen. I mean, this guy's coughing up blood. I mean, I went to, I got just short of that in Korea. And they have tons of stuff in Korea that you can contract, and it could kill you. So there was a PA. Again, that's the question I have. They said medics. Was there a PA in the mix, or is it some Navy corpsman or something like that? Because like, nobody gave a shit about me until I got to the PA. And he injected me with, 2 big shots of some sort of antibiotic. And I was well in a couple days, or well enough. So again, that would be a fix for that system. Let's see who was involved medically. I think that's where it failed. Now, the idea of letting him finish, he did finish, but then he died. Right. So I don't know. Again, I think there's a lot of uncaring people is the reason that happened. I got no idea why this thing's popping off and popping on. I might be getting hacked. I can't tell. So again, they'll tell you that means I'm not supposed to speak about that. I have no idea what is going on here. But what if that actually did exist? What's going on here? Have plenty of power. I don't know what's going on. But if that did exist, it would eventually be kill yourself. I just did the Reader's Digest condensed version of that. Once you start listening to them, they never stop until you kill yourself. Again, well, why do we? Because you're devils, demons, antichrists, witches, and sorcerers that are heinous criminals that support sex trafficking, narcotics distribution, and worse. And you murder people because it makes you happy, because Satan gives you something to murder people. Might be my battery. The C port on the mobile batteries are usually the first thing to go if you use them, for like the things I use them for, put them on a belt, carry them around and all that. So I'm holding the C port on the battery and it seems to be better. But see, that's how it works though. And they know that. They psychologically operate you and then you'll start seeing it everywhere. That's why you hear me say, maybe it's them, maybe it's not, maybe it's Satan, because Satan will do it. So they support Satan. They plant the system so Satan can torture somebody to death. Now, if you go to the Bible, it will say that means that person's evil, but no, it's reversed. Remember, we're in the end times. The good people are being tortured by people on earth that are devils, demons, antichrists, witches, and sorcerers psychologically. But Satan can do it, but Satan can't get in until they put him in. That includes church people. They're part of the partners. We're going to save you. And next you know, everybody's getting killed in church. Never happened before that. Those partners were there long ago. Those partners were there before the church shootings. Those partners were there in the 90s. 1990s. Nobody was shooting up churches in the 1990s. And of course, they're just criminal spycraft operators at that point. So it is what it is. So I'm not sure if I'm going to stay. It's getting a little bit humid. I might try to find some better weather. But I can't go backwards. So that's going to be a little difficult. I mean, I wouldn't mind going up someplace like where there's a reservation, people. Not the reservation, because I'm just too disabled to do that now. But, maybe someplace near, where a Native American community is. Do some healing there. But I have to see if I can find one that's dry. So I saw this missing persons thing for this Native American woman. Boy, she's had a rough life. The thing came out like with it. The inside was that she's probably deceased, but they're looking for her. But it's nice in this area in the winter. I mean, I can't complain one bit. It was nice and cool and dry. But due to my, all the inflammation and damage from all those years of being terrorized and tortured by the criminal spycraft operators, I couldn't get to my physical therapy because that was one of their goals. Doesn't mean they won. It just means they're going to hell. I mean, if that's your idea of winning, then more power to you. You're not going to get out of hell, all of you. You can't with what you're doing. The Bible does not allow you to cause others to fall, to manipulate people with psychology, metaphysics, and physical blocks in their life. It doesn't allow you to be saved. That's one thing Paul didn't do. You say, how could Paul? Because Paul was a physical person there. He wasn't casting spells on people to be evil. He wasn't psychologically manipulating people to become Christians so he could arrest them for the Sanhedrin. Because it's the same game that they're playing today. Or he didn't do it, but that's what I'm speaking about, where they actually physically operate people to be gay so they can oppress them. So that's sick. But then again, it brings spirits that alters people independent of them. So again, you see, that's why the church can't move against it like it is, because all it is a matter of healing it. And again, I don't know what you think. If somebody's walking down the street and they fall over and you heal them and they won't heal, do you oppress them then? Again, if we go back in time, that was the beginning, and then Jesus came and said other things. That you would have a bad life if you were with him. They go back to the Old Testament where it said God blesses certain people. But yet when Jesus was here, what did he say? This is not the Father's kingdom. Why do you not see that? Because having eyes you see not, having ears you hear not. Why? Because you have eyes of self-service. You have eyes of selfishness. You have eyes of self-righteousness, which is very unrighteous. So Jesus told you that God would not be giving you money when he came along. You would have a bad life. You wouldn't have a good life. The church is saying that the people are having a good life. Something going on. The Popo's here, and somebody just cut away from me when I came around the corner. I'm not sure what's going on there. I'm not sure if something's going on. It's just two things timing at the same time. I don't know who this woman is behind me. I guess there she is. She's not part of it, I guess. Just trying to figure out. It's kind of weird right now. Now, I came around a corner, and a woman cut away. She may have just been paranoid because she saw the Popo. Right. And she went back up over by the steps. And then she was in the park. And She came back out into the parking lot though when the cop came. Okay, there it is. Okay, yeah, okay. That's where it is. The popo is looking for something over there, and she just cut. She walked in the parking lot till the police officer passed, and I think she cut up through this way. But I had my back to her, so I can't be sure. She was like there and then disappeared. Same thing the other person did. I came around the corner when she was trying to take off. I'm like, what is this? I mean, BO, offend. And then I don't have my hat on either. And then the other officer, then I saw the officer's vehicle by the office. Now they have cameras, I think, over there. So she may have had some intel. I don't know. So this is what happens when I used to be inside this time at night. I thought this place was quiet. Still actually is, compared to a lot of them. I think if it was bigger, like if it had another 2 buildings, I think it'd be crazy. It's just not big enough. I don't see her over here. She probably got out of here. May have called on somebody that wouldn't leave or something. Or an argument. Now, have my health, I could have helped a little better. Okay, there's something going on. There was somebody, I don't know. There's a black woman that she's looking for someone. She's like, all right, stay peaceful, praise God in all that you do.